I got your bitch. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. They are to be ashamed. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Goddamn right, bitch. Look at here. There you go. They're out here sharing marijuana. Look at here. There you go. The same old nasty ass people from last week. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Goddamn corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Goddamn right, bitch. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Dope. Goddamn right, bitch. Goddamn right, bitch. Goddamn right, bitch. Goddamn right, bitch. Corner doing dope. 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 Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Sitting down the goddamn corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Goddamn right, bitch. Look at here. There you go. They're out here sharing marijuana. Look at here. There you go. The same old nasty ass people from last week. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Goddamn corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Corner doing dope. Goddamn right, bitch. Sitting down the goddamn corner.
Hello. Yes, I am aware. Yes, ma'am. I am 100% aware that you guys don't employ feline animals at the Golden Corral. I just want you to know that my cat has an eating problem, and much like his catnip problem, he's trying to do anything to get a fix. I know. I'm sorry he suggested you rename the restaurant the Golden Cat Row. I apologize. No, I'm going to talk to him when he gets home. Okay, thank you, ma'am. You have a wonderful day. What's up? Happy Friday, bitches. What? We're doing it. Welcome to Barry on Deck. I am your host, Barry Laminack. And this is episode, what the hell is this? This is episode number 34. I forget, we're one day off. We took a Tuesday off a couple weeks ago to go silent in support of the Black Lives Matter movement. So I'm always got to subtract one. This should be the end of 7 weeks. Well, it is the end of 7 weeks. So it should be episode 35. We skipped one. We're on episode 34. But thank you, goddammit, for being here. I'm so excited about today. Joining me in the 2 o'clock hour, none other than Dave Tepper himself. If you've listened to ESPN 97.5 in the past, you know exactly who Dave Tepper is. If you're not from Houston and you're watching this right now, Dave Tepper is the man responsible for a lot of people's jobs in radio and getting us started, including myself. He's been in this market in Austin and Nebraska. He's currently in Denver. It's going to be an absolute plus he's hilarious. And Dave is great out on screen. So he's just, he did comedy. It's going to be a blast. So stick around for that in the 3 o'clock hour. But of course, I got to start the show off as I always do with the shout outs. And I can't see who got in first. I think it was Chris Reyes that got in first today. So shout out to Chris for the first one in the chat. But what's up to Brandon Martinez and G-Man Fidel Limon, Luis Zelaya, who's one of our chat moderators, along with Jeremy Vinegar, Chris Householder, who, by the way, along with Chris Davis, pretty skilled at Warzone. I've been seeing on the Discord how these dudes are winning matches. Pretty crazy. I'm a hindrance, is what they call there's like the squad leader, there's the recon. They call me a liability. That's my legit role in Warzone. What's up, Alex Villanueva? Happy Friday to you, buddy. Jorge Franco is here. Frank Ruiz is here. Sergio. John. What's up, you dirty deckhead? Sandoval. Donna and Crystal back to back. You love to see it. Crystal's like, is Dave Tepper here yet? What's up, Decky Doodles? Where else we got? Chris Pelk is in the building. Kevin Wallace. PayPal Pete. Justin Swinford. Man, Keith Sager. Keith's got a birthday either just happened or is about to happen. I got to go back and look. Mimi, what's up, Mimi Mo? Yes, Tepper's gonna be here. Terrence Guidry, what's up, homie? Charles Garza, Clarence, Lisa, the gang's all here. So excited. And let's see, what do we got? Jen is here. TJ, Gregory Vega Jr. Man, God damn it, I love you guys so much. I do want to tell you something. I already saw the first super chat. God damn it, Robert likes beer. This is supposed to be a beer Friday. I know you got me on the shot, all right? I'm going to give you one shot, and this is it. No one else super chat me for shots. But we're doing beer today, but I'll do a shot because Robert likes beer, which is weird that Robert's sending me shots and he likes beer. But this is for you, deckheads. I love y'all so much. This is for you guys. But, God damn it. We're going to do beer today. Again, we drink on Fridays. We do lawn talk on Fridays, which I know I need a lawn beer. Isn't there like a lawnmower beer? I've got all kinds of shit. I've got the NBA schedule for you. We're going to talk about a man's bladder exploding. That'll be fun. I've got not one, but two videos to break down as well. But I want to shout out Chris and the guys over at Beer Chronicle. As you know, they are not only a sponsor of the show, but they're sponsoring my alcoholism as well. They gave me a glass, which is really badass. I'm trying to see if you guys can see it. But this glass is from beerchronicle.com. Go check it out. But it says, "We love Houston beer, and we love Houston beer." And shout out to those guys for hooking me up with the glass. And they hooked me up with a 6-pack. I've got 3 left. So I've got Galveston Hefina. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I've got Dome Foam, which I've had before and I like. And then I've got Haterade. So here's how we'll start. I saw somebody in the chat. I don't know who it was. I think it was Jorge Franco. But somebody's like, we haven't even started and there's already a thumbs down. That's the beauty of what we do, folks. That's the beauty of having a show like this or being in the public eye. People are always going to hate you. As you know, based off of what happened earlier in the week. People are always going to hate you. And to that I say, it's okay. So my first beer of the day goes out to the person that got one of my episodes pulled. And then it came back because turned out they were a fucking liar. And whoever thumbs down the video before we even start. So I'll be drinking Haterade in your honor today. So there we go. Now I'm trying to do a professional pour here. You guys can actually see me pouring it this time. You know, I was a bartender for a wee bit time back in the day and a bar back. My mom owned a bar in Conroe. And I think I did every single job in that bar. I was the door manager. I started off working the door. Then I bar backed. Then I was a bartender. Then I DJ'd. At one point, I was given hand jobs in the back. That's not true. I made that up completely. I saw, AR Platinum is in. What's up, buddy? Let's see. What Cowboy Trav is here. Cowboy fam. Oh, look at Crystal Collins with the super chat. Thank you, sweetie. She said, shots to getting Tepper here. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll drink my beer instead. How about that? This is Haterade. That's actually pretty good. It's got like a bit of a sour taste to it. But it's not bad. When you taste the sourness, what's up, Pink Valkyrie? When you taste the sourness, you think, this isn't going to be good. There's no aftertaste. There's no truck driver Pookie in the building. Oh, shit. What's up, buddy? Matthew Carruthers, what's up, buddy? Tyler McKee is in the building. The gang's all here. Let's fucking get rolling, right? You guys know how we do. First things first, I always like to update you guys on Fridays for our new patrons. Thank you to everybody that has joined the Patreon. And we're getting closer to the 200. And as you guys know, I've set a goal for 200 patrons on the Patreon. And we are at 109. So thank you to Dan Metchet, Joe Pro or Josh, Mike Liebeshock, and Terrence Guidry. You 4 are the newest 4 patrons to join the Patreon movement for Barry on Deck. And when we get to 200, I promised you guys I will add a 3rd hour every Friday. So that's right. Every Friday, like today, if we were at 200, I'd be doing 3 hours today. If you want to join the Patreon, it's real easy. All you got to do is go to patreon.com/Barry on Deck. There are several different tiers that you can join with. And all of them get you access to the Discord server where we get litty. It's a lot of fun. It's basically a private channel for all the deckheads. You guys get to go and chat, and there's Call of Duty Warzone teams that get built, and funny stories are shared and uplifting stuff. And hell, we had one deckhead that was on Discord. He was like, I need help. I got a flat tire. And the deckheads were like, where you at? I'm on my way. Let's do this. Dude, it's fucking amazing. Joining the Patreon just for the Discord is worth it, but you also get swag and discounts on swag and audio versions of the show if that's your thing. So there's 3 tiers, $2, $5, and $10. And I don't care what tiers we get. If we get to 200 on the $2 tier, I'm fucking thrilled about that. I just want to get to 200 patrons. So you can join patreon.com/Barry on deck. We're going to get to that 200 eventually, and we'll add a third hour to the show. So, that is literally all the show updates I have. I normally lament all that stuff. Nah, let's get into this shit because we still got lawn talk to get to. I got 2 questions today for lawn talk. We got some sports shit. Let's start off with the sports. The NBA has kind of released their schedule. Oh, hold on. Let me pause for a cause here. I just saw something. Francisco said, Barry, is the Barry on deck sticker good to put on my car? I believe it is. Now, I haven't weatherproof tested the stickers, but you know what? If something happens, let me know and I'll send you another sticker, Francisco. All right, I got you. Don't worry about it. Why is Chris asking Chris Reyes patron only? What does that mean, Chris Reyes? I'm not sure what that means. Huh. What is this again? I don't know. You guys are nuts, man. All right. Oh, is that true, Chris Davis? They're releasing the NBA schedule tonight. Well, I happen to have something for you. This is kind of the schedule of how things are going to play out over the season. So you'll see starting on June 30th, that's when all the transactions end. You can no longer sign players or bring them up, or there's a ton of different types of transactions that they have. And once we get to June 30th, that'll be the end of those. That's where they cut it off and say, okay, rosters are going to be set July 30th. So if you wanted to get something done, get it in now. All right. So then what they're going to do is July 1, the rosters get set, and that's for everybody that's in Orlando that's going to be playing. Because as you guys know, not all of the NBA teams are going to be there. So not everybody is going to be in Orlando playing for the league this time around, because some of them don't have a chance to make the playoffs. And that's okay. Don't be sad if that's your team. So rosters get set July 1, and then from the 1st through the 9th of July, they're going to be doing individual workouts, getting folks in shape, trying to get them ready to go. Once that happens, they're going to start the seeding games. And if you don't know what that is, that's where essentially they're doing the play-in games. They're trying to figure out who's going to actually be in the playoffs. So they're doing these seeding tournament games where, those teams are out of the top 7 seeds. They'll be playing, and then they're going to figure out who's that A seed is through the seeding games. August 15th and 16th, possible East-West Conference playing games. That's when they'll finally figure out, all right, these are the last 2. We get our 8 seed, and then the playoffs begin August 17th. They roll until September 30th when the NBA Finals, that's when they're targeted to start. We don't know for sure because, things are going to happen. What's going on in the chat? Yeah, all right. I don't know. I don't know what I missed. I just saw somebody Crystal said I had 100 jobs. I don't know what that means. NBA Finals started for September 30th. And then once the season is over with, October 16th, the NBA draft will occur. A lot of shit to get to for the NBA between now and the end of the season. That's a lot. I mean, that's legitimately a lot of stuff. So I have faith in the NBA. I don't know if you guys do. I actually have faith in the NBA that they're going to get this shit done, and it's going to be a decent season. It's gonna work out the way it should. I'm excited that we're gonna find out who's going to be playing what. I wasn't aware of that, Chris Davis, so thank you for that. But NBA season is here. That's happening. Baseball is happening. We're getting back to normal, aren't we? Though, if you didn't know. I need a napkin. Governor Abbott issued all bars to be closed today at noon. So we're already past it. If you didn't get to the bar now, you're fucked. The bars are closed. And I'm not going to go on a rant. I'm not going to lose my shit right now. All I'm going to say is, we've been talking about this forever. Wear your mask. I want to get out of this fucking house. If you want to go to the bar, I get it. You got freedom and all that shit. Wear your mask. We can all go to the bar. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to rant and rave and get on my high horse and preach and all that shit. That's it. It's Friday. We're having fun. No bars. I know, Sergio. No bars. Now what? Everybody's got to drink at home and look at their family. Fuck! No one wants to do that. Ugh. But Crystal said, I bought lights, Barry, for Club CC. Oh, shit. I don't drink a lot, but I could tell you right now, if I was a bar person, I'd be more mad than anybody. Because there are a lot of people that love going to the bars, and now they can't, and that fucking sucks. If that's a lot of people's social life. That's what allows a lot of people be social. So, what is this? Wallace Wilts, third hour on Friday should be taking Zoom calls from deckheads. Let me ask you something. This isn't the first time that this has been suggested. And Wallace, I appreciate you being here, number one. And I listen to all feedback for this show. But I really want to know the truth. Don't just say this because you just want to be on the show. Not you, Wallace. I'm saying you as in everybody in the chat, all the deckheads, everybody watching this. Would you really be interested in hearing from your fellow deckheads? I can tell you this. Back in the days with radio, when we would get phone calls, most people were like, we don't give a fuck about the phone calls. We're listening for you and Joel and Nick. Some folks like hearing their voices. Some folks like to call. Sometimes the calls, if they're good, can really enhance a show. But let's just say for a second that I get one of you deckheads on here and y'all freeze up. And you're like, oh shit. And I'm trying to have fun with you and you're like, I'm nervous. What's your name? I don't know. Well, where are you from? I don't know. What do you do for a living? I don't know. Is that really what you guys are? Would that be it? Okay, Chris Davis says I would be down for it. Mike said that's what chat is for. Dr. Dre at 290, party at the Palatial Laminack Estate. You can go to hell, Dr. Dre. No one's coming to my house. I'll tell you that right goddamn now. My wife is homesick today, and I'm praying to God she don't have the Rona. Okay? And then no. You sons of bitches ain't bringing that shit over here. Hell no. Charles Garden said Dan Barry had more people on the show before it even started than Josh had all show last night. I shouldn't have read that out loud. That's my bad. This is previewing on the fly. Pink Valkyrie, I'd want to hear some deckheads, but not all. And see, Pink Valkyrie, there's the problem. If I start to bring in some deckheads and not all, people are going to get their feelings hurt because they're not all included. And it's just easier if I don't do that. I've tried to be as interactive as possible. I do. But I don't know if bringing deckheads on would enhance the show or ruin it for the rest of you guys. And I'm just being honest. I have no idea. If you guys would let's fucking do it. If that's what we all want to do. I just have to make that call. And sometimes it's not a great call, right? The chat enhances the show. Jorge said, you don't even know how many it is communicating outside of the show. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Freeze like what? Freeze like it? What? No way. Billy says, no, he don't want to see from you people. Hell yeah, deckheads start with Virginia Buttonweed. He's 61. He's not 61. Donna says, no. See? Jen says, hang up on him. I'm not very interesting, but I would be down to hear others. Okay. Tyler McKee, I think you do a good job enough reading chats, so no need. I try to keep up with it. Chris Davis said, we can't party in the Circle parking lot doing drinks with the Amazon van. Fuck him. Okay, let me calm down. Cowboy fam, I'll come chat and give tips and pointers in the kitchen. Y'all, by the way, can we all just pause for the cause for a second and give a shout out to Cowboy fam? Huh? Cowboy fam was on TV. I don't know if I can spoil it or not. I don't know. Fam, you put it in the chat if I can do it, and then I'll read it, and we'll make sure everybody knows about it. I don't want to spoil it, but guys, we're in the presence of greatness and somebody famous with Cowboy Fam. God damn it, Virginia Buttonweed. Thank you so much for your generosity with this super chat. This is outstanding, bro. Thank you. He said, soup for Nor, get well soon. Thank you, buddy. We're a little nervous, but I think we're going to be okay. No fever, but then again, things are changing, and you don't have to have fever to have the Rona. Sergio knows. Daddy's making a YouTube video. Chris said the Daily Show chat is interesting enough and included. Okay, I'm just trying to get a gauge here of what we're doing. Gregory Vega Jr. went to super chat. How much they pay you to babysit that beer? Asshole. Listen. Is that better? God damn. I shouldn't have done that. Y'all let me know if Cowboy Fam posts what he... I want to make sure I don't miss it. Okay. Whew. All right. Let's get to... What do we got? We got the sports hour. You guys know. Stick your pinky up when you drink. Shut up, Mike. Did he post it? I didn't see if he posted it. Did I miss it? Did he post it? Did he post it? Yeah, there it goes. Cowboy Fam! Yes! I was on season 11 of Master Chef before the Rona shut it down. Bam! Fuck yeah, Cowboy Fam. Deckhead's doing big shit. I love it. I love to see it. Okay. So, now I would talk to Fam about that because I don't think he would freeze up, but I don't know. If I asked Chris Davis to break down Warzone, he might be like, no, Chris is an actor. He's not going to freeze up. Chris Householder might. Actually, he won't either. Actually, most of y'all are pretty fucking cool. I say most of you because, oh, look, somebody took their thumbs down back, by the way, guys. Did we see that? Huh? Did you see? Someone took off a thumbs down and added a thumbs up. We're down from 2-1. Gotta love it. Peer pressure is amazing. But yeah, fucking shout out to Cowboy Fam. That's outstanding. All right. We got a bunch of shit to get to. I was going to do entertainment and then lawn talk. Is that cool with you guys? Okay. Let's talk about real quick because you guys are so big on making me drink. You love to make me do the shots and the beers, and you're like, yeah, let's get Barry drunk and make him look stupid on his show. Well, I just want you to know that comes with a price. Now, this is not a man that got his period, okay? This is a picture for a story out of the New York Post about a 40-year-old man whose bladder exploded. Oh, look, we got rid of the other thumbs down. You guys, are you guys accidentally hitting thumbs down? This is fucking amazing. But a man's bladder fucking exploded. The 40-year-old man, identified only as Mr. Who, reportedly fell asleep after downing 10. Oh, look, the 2 thumbs down are back, you assholes. But this dude downed 10 bottles of beer during a heavy drinking session. 10. I got 3 right here. This was over an entire night. I'm going to do this over 2 hours. He downed 10 bottles of beer, passed out, never went to the restroom. Dude slept for 18 hours, didn't go pee-pee one time, and his fucking bladder exploded. What? It blew in 3 places, and then pee started leaking into his body, and his intestines started leaking into his bladder. I'm not drinking anymore. You all can save the super chats. You're not making my goddamn bladder explode. I'll tell you that much. I'm not doing it. In fact, I'm gonna go pour this beer out right now. I'm not doing it. You are out of your mind. This dude's bladder exploded. They had to do emergency surgery on this dude's bladder to save his life. And then they said, oh, we usually see this about once a year. What? What? There's people's bladder. I feel like, okay, raise your hand. And you ever got so drunk you peed the bed? Oh, some of y'all put your hands up, you nasty bastards. I feel like if I drank that much, that I would pee the bed. I do. I feel like if I drank that much, I would pee the bed and my bladder would never explode. I would rather pee the bed than my bladder explode. Fact. 100% fact. And does it really count? Like, are you really... If you pee the bed when you're drunk, does that count like as an official adult piss the bed moment? Or do you get a pass? Is that an excused absence? I don't think I'm counting that. If you get so drunk that you just don't get up, you just piss where you lie. Is that grounds for being shamed? I don't think so. I feel like if you get drunk enough where you are cognizant as an adult to get up and go pee in the restroom, you're that drunk, you get a pass. That's just what I think. I don't know. No excuse, G-Man says. No excuse for pee in the bed. I don't know. Mike said, I have several times. Wait, you said pee. Okay. Dr. Trail 290, this guy must be related to Pink Valkyrie. 18 hours, he had more than beer. That could be. Chan says it counts. Yep. It counts if you pee the bed. And I do agree, Aaron. I've had more than 10 beers. My bladder hasn't exploded. I also peed, though. Charles Garza got drunk the other day and pissed in the corner of the room. I'm trying to think of when the last time, when I was a kid. Now, I don't remember as an adult. As a child, I wouldn't sleep. I guess it was sleepwalking. But I was such a deep sleeper that I peed the bed longer than I should have. Not like, up until I was only like 23. No, I was fucking with you. But I was a deep sleeper, so I peed the bed a lot as a kid. But then I would start to wake up. As you get older, you realize that you need to wake. But then I would sleepwalk, and I pissed in the dryer. I pissed in the bathtub. I had the sink. I would open the cabinets and pee in those. I'd go down and just piss in the living room on the couch. I would just, as a kid, I'd just piss all over the house. Just whatever. You got to do what you got to do. I did have a waterbed as an adult, not as a kid. Yeah, pissy drunk is a phrase. That's true. But look, the rest of you are fucking cowards, okay? Some of us can admit when we do weird shit that we shouldn't be doing as an adult. The rest of you, cowards. Okay, that was one entertainment story. The other entertainment story that I have. Actually, let's do this. I got to get to these. I don't want to get behind on my... Let me go ahead and shout out beerchronicle.com right now. Already plugged them once. And again, thank you for the glass and the beers, beerchronicle.com, fellas. But if you haven't supported beerchronicle.com yet, go check it out. They sent me this Haterade. They sent me this Dome Foam. They sent a ton of good beers last week as well. But they are the authority on Houston beer. They've got the largest online collection of original content solely dedicated to covering Houston's beer culture. If you want to learn more about the beer culture in Houston, beerchronicle.com is your one-stop shop. You're going to learn everything. They're going to educate you not only on the scene, but they're going to educate you on beer itself. I'm learning a lot more just by using the website. They've done photographs and graphics for some of the biggest breweries in town, including Eighth Wonder, whom I happen to have some beer from. They've got articles, brewery maps, lists, you name it. It's at beerchronicle.com. They are the biggest, loudest, okayest, most Houstonist beer site on the interwebs. They are veteran-owned. They are a culturally diverse team. Go check them out today. It's beerchronicle.com. Make sure you support the businesses that support Barry on Deck. And while you're online, do me a favor. Hop on over to fellow deckhead Brian Lamb's website, NFLDraftLounge.com. We're getting closer, guys. Sports is coming back. You're going to need to know what's going on with the draft. There's already mock drafts for 2021 that Brian Lamb has put out on NFLDraftLounge.com. They do an amazing job of keeping you up to date. They are your source for everything NFL draft related. Scouting reports, mock drafts, news analysis, you name it. They do a great job. They also supply all of the draft information for the Infinity Sports Network blogs all over the country. So go check them out as well. NFL Draft Lounge has a podcast that you can listen to as well if you need to get your NFL fix. Give them a try. Give them a try. If you haven't gone already, go log on right now. NFLDraftLounge.com. NFLDraftLounge.com. All right. The other bit of entertainment news before we get to lawn talk. And we're going to, just real quick, this won't take long, I promise. But Stouffer's has created the first ever mac and cheese dispenser. Yeah, the first ever mac and cheese dispenser was been invented by Stouffer's, and quote, it delivers creamy cheesy goodness of Stouffer's mac and cheese straight from the town. Oh my God, look at that. I just got a boner. Are you shitting me? Is this real life? What? Let me tell you something right now. As a man, you know, we all, like, diamonds are a girl's best friend. A way to a woman's heart, flowers. If you want to get in my panties, bring me some mac and cheese. All-time favorite food of all time. That's a double all time. Look, I don't have a beer keg or a beer tap at this house, but I guarantee you I would have a mac and cheese dispenser before I had a beer keg or a beer tap. Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. If I could just walk up and bloop, and then mac and cheese comes out? What? All I would need is one that does zebra cakes. Fucking done. Never leaving the house. Fuck the Rona. Fuck this lockdown. I got a mac and cheese dispenser. And can we just say Stouffer's mac and cheese? It's legit. This isn't no mamby-pamby bullshit mac and cheese. It's legit mac and cheese. Now, I am partial to Velveeta's mac and cheese. Got to go with the creamy. But I'm not, any mac and cheese isn't bad mac and cheese. I mean, there's bad mac and cheese. There is bad mac and cheese. But I'm not like powder, I'm not like anti-powder mac and cheese. That doesn't bother me. I'm not going to be like, oh, you put me to powder. Look, if it's good, it's good. I grew up on the powdered Kraft macaroni and cheese. And then when Velveeta dropped that liquid gold, oh shit. Outstanding. So yeah, I'm all about mac and cheese. That's my favorite shit. Now, also, just shout out to Mike Liebestock, who's one of our new patrons and a friend of mine, former co-host of Houston Game Day with me. But he and I used to swap. Like, his wife is African American, my wife is Hispanic, and we would swap. The two white guys would swap foods. My wife would make what is it? Quesadilla? What was it? Cheesecake? No, what the hell is it? Shit, I don't remember what. Some sort of cheesecake. Quesadilla cheesecake or something. Not quesadillas. I don't know what the hell it's called. Some sort of Mexican cheesecake bullshit. And then, no, we wouldn't swap wives. Shut up. We would swap food. And then his wife would make blackaroni and cheese. And my non-African American deckheads, if you've never had blackaroni and cheese, oh, holy shit. There's like 11,000 different kinds of cheese in it. And it's just cheese on cheese on cheese. No, not flan, Pink Valkyrie. Sopapilla cheesecake. I said quesadilla. If my wife heard that, she's going to fucking dog me the entire weekend. Really? Quesadilla cheesecake, you stupid son of a bitch? I'll be like, babe, I'm sorry. I had a half a beer. I was litty. Sopapilla cheesecake. Thank you, Jeremy Joseph. That's what it was. Yeah. But we swapped that food. And that blackaroni and cheese, best shit ever. Best shit ever. Look up a recipe if you don't believe me. All right, it is time for everybody's favorite lawn talk. Who's ready? Huh? Who's ready for lawn talk? I got to get this beer down. This is... Okay. On the Discord server, which you can only be a member of if you join the Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/BarryOnDeck. Join the Patreon. I feel like such a whore promoting that, but it's how we're going to help the show grow. And just real quick, because people ask me what exactly is Patreon. It's real simple. You as a consumer have the opportunity now to support artists directly instead of having to go through advertisers. And we all know how advertising worked out for me on the radio. But it's just your way of being able to support a show or an artist that you really like directly. And so it's just real simple. You go to patreon.com. Where to go? You go to patreon.com/BarryOnDeck, and then you can support the show. And you can make sure that we're here as long as we can be here. It's just a way of you taking a little bit of control. All right. Lawn Talk, though, I got questions from the Discord server, which you can get through joining Patreon. First one was from Fidel Limon. And Fidel said, what is the right height to cut your grass for in the summer? Summer, winter, spring, and fall, it doesn't matter if you have... It depends on the grass, first of all. Let me just say that, Fidel. It depends on the grass that you have. If you have St. Augustine grass, then you need to set your mower as high as it'll go. You want St. Augustine to be as tall as possible. Now, you don't want it to be up to your knees. But most, like, I have a riding lawn mower, and that mower cuts at 4 inches at its tallest. So I just leave it at its tallest setting. Never drop your mower if you have St. Augustine and you're good. If you have Bermuda grass, you want to cut it as really, really low. And the optimal way to do it, to cut Bermuda, is not with a lawnmower. Get yourself one of those manual wheel mowers. It's called a reel mower. Let me see if I can find a picture of one real fast. And put it into the, here's one. I'm going to try to grab this picture real quick for you guys. No. Damn it. Hey, Keith, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He said, thanks for the lawn talk, Barry. You know, man, I'm here to please, brother. I love me some lawn talk. I'm trying to find this picture, though, of this wheel mower. Real mower, I should say. Let me just grab one here. But this is what I want you to get if you are if you have Bermuda. And if you don't know, just Google the two. You'll be able to figure it out. Okay, here's come on, shit. This is taking too damn long. And this is what a real mower looks like. Okay? So that's what you want to use if you have Bermuda. It sucks, especially if you have a really big yard, but it'll cut really low and get really close. So super important to use that. If you have, Chris Reyes said, fuck you, Barry. I ain't cutting my yard by hand. I'm just telling you, it's the best way to do it. Now, for St. Augustine, which is what most of us have, just set your mower on its highest. If you have a deck, don't drop it. What I did, and this really helped me out, especially if you've got weak spots in your lawn, the higher that your St. Augustine gets, the more opportunity it has to choke out weeds. The deeper the roots are going to grow, the healthier that it's going to be. So set your mower as high as possible. And what I did is this. I skipped mowing for like 4 or 5 weeks one time. I just kept watering. I fertilized. I let it get as tall and as thick as possible. And then I went through with the deck at the highest setting, and that was where the level of my lawn was going to be at from then on. And that really created a really nice thick lawn from that point on. So my suggestion to you, mow as high as possible. Justin Cum said we've got weeds. It'll help, brother. It'll absolutely help choke those weeds out. If you have Bermuda infringing upon your St. Augustine, same thing. Bermuda needs a lot of sunlight, and if you let that St. Augustine get real high, it will eventually win over versus the Bermuda grass. I promise you that. It just takes a while. So that is answer number 1 for the lawn talk. How high should I cut my grass? Now you know. Jimmy John with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He said, Barry is fancy with his riding mower, but I am fancier if I have someone else who rides their own mower when cutting my grass. No, I never said I was fancy. I never said, oh, I'm fancy. I have a riding mower. I just happen to have 1.3 acres I have to mow. If you think I'm pushing a mower around, no. And can I tell you what somebody wanted to charge me to do my yard every week? They wanted, just to weed eat my ditches, they wanted to charge me $75 a week. No. Daddy don't have a job, okay? And when I did, it was radio. I'm not rolling like that. I bought a mower. I'll mow that shit myself. But thanks for rubbing it in, Jimmy John, you fucking jerk. All right, question number 2 came from Chris Householder. He said, what can I put on an area filled with rocks and pebbles to keep weeds from ever coming in? It seems like they get going, and the only way to fix it is to pull the rocks up and pull out the weeds. So good question. So there's a couple things you can do. It depends on how many rocks you have and where those rocks are. If they're like big boulders that you can't move, I suggest you get like a Roundup or a glyphosate and spray the weeds, and then put down preen. And I wish these people advertised, because I swear by this stuff. But let me get a picture for you guys of what preen looks like. This is what I use. I actually use this big bucket here of preen. What the hell? How come I can't get a picture of preen? This should be easy. Where's my picture of preen at? This is what I use. So, 1, kill the weeds you have, Mr. Householder. That didn't work. Save image. Oh, come on. Jeez, this ain't that hard. Anyways, it's called preen. I can't. Here, I'll just do this. This is going to be the cheap and dirty way to do it, but it'll get the job done. Use this shit, okay? That's called preen, and this is what I put. So here's what I do, all right? First thing I do, I kill the weeds I have. So in my case, I've got a lot of flower beds that have weeds, and so I'll go in and I'll either pull the weeds if it's not too many, or I'll just go ahead and spray them with a Roundup, or I use that Compare and Save glyphosate. Now, once you get rid of the weeds, put down preen. Your best bet, if it's me, your best bet is to do step 1, kill the weeds. Step 2, if you can, lay down a weed barrier. They sell them at all the big box stores. They sell them everywhere. But put down a weed barrier, put the rocks back if it's those small rocks, and then put some preen down. Now, you got to do the preen about every 6 months, but what it does is preen doesn't kill existing weeds, but it doesn't let new weed seed germinate. So it's going to prevent new weeds. So stay on top of your preen. Do it every 3 months if that makes you feel better. But Roundup, kill the weeds, put down a barrier so the stuff in the soil can't grow, because weeds will still grow on top of rocks, believe it or not. I've got, y'all saw my circle drive. I got rocks in the middle. Weeds still grow in there, and I just kill them with Roundup and pull them out after they're dead. But put down a barrier, use that preen. It's going to help a lot, all right? What's up, neighbor Fernandez? How are you, buddy? So that's going to help you quite a bit, Chris. Step 1, kill the weeds. Step 2, weed barrier. Step 3, put down preen. Step 4, keep up with your preen every 3 to 6 months, just depending on how bad your weed stuff is, or how bad your weed problem is. Okay. I saw chat was going crazy, and I have no idea what happens. But I'll leave it up to you guys. How about that? That was our long talk for the day. We're getting close now. We got to get to some of these. We got to get to film session. But real quick, before we get to film session, I do have to tell you about Dan's Seafood and Wings. Guys, if you haven't, this weekend, restaurants are at 50%. And I want to implore you guys something. I want to stress upon you that they're cutting back restaurants to 50%. Now is a perfect opportunity to support a local business that also supports Barry on Deck, and that's Dan's Seafood and Wings. They've got 2 locations to serve you. If you're on the south side of town, you can go to 3991 South Gessner and eat Dan's Seafood and Wings. Get it to go if you need to get it to go. But if you're on the north side, on the northeast part of town, they've got 18 Uvalde Road, and you could go there as well. Check out eatatdans.com. That's got the locations, but it's also got the menu of all of the delicious foods that they have. And they're known for their boiled spicy shrimp, their New Orleans barbecue shrimp. They're known for their lo mein, their grilled platters. Make sure that you go support them. Go eat them. Go eat at Dan's. On Facebook, go to Eat at Dan's 1, and on Instagram, go to Eat at Dan's. But David 2 stepped up big, and he's got 6 restaurants around the city of Houston. And he's a big deckhead, and he said, I want to support you. So go support them as well. And finally, Gooseworks is the place if you need to get screen printing done. Boy, this beer's already kicking in. High volume printing jobs, no problemo. All you got to do, hit up Gustavo over at Gooseworks. It's gooseworksart.com or on Instagram at Gooseworks. Real simple. Log on. You can talk to Gustavo. You can tell him what orders you need, whether you've got a large group or a staff or teams or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. No order too big for my guy Gustavo over there. Hit him up. He's going to take care of you. He's printed for major corporations. He's printed for little schlubs like me. And if you got a Barry on Deck original OG t-shirt, then you know how badass the quality of the print was. So hit him up right now. Just go to gooseworksart.com. Tell him I sent you. Tell him I said hello. And tell him thank you for supporting Barry on Deck. Okay. Without further ado, man, this shit is flying by. It always flies by on a Friday. It always seems to just go by too fast. I feel like there's something happening in the chat I missed as usual. I almost missed this super chat, which let's address this for a second. Robert likes beer. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. Very, very kind of you. That's very nice. You are a gentleman and a scholar. But he said, Robert, Chris Reyes for Discord moderators. You are guaranteed to have a good time. That's not happening. Robert likes beer. I can't trust you and Chris. You guys are the ones I'm constantly having to remind to clean it up and act right on Discord. Posting titty shots and semen pictures. Come on, bro. You out of your mind? All right, what am I going with, guys? What's next up on the list? Am I going the Galveston Hefina? Or am I going Eighth Wonder Dome Foam? Which one am I doing? Galveston or Eighth Wonder? Or the Dome Foam? You tell me, and that's the next one I'll drink. Thanks again to beerchronicle.com for the beer. Okay, guys, you know what time it is. You know what time it is. Oh, shit, I missed another super chat. My bad, G-Man. My bad. G-Man, thank you, buddy. Much appreciated. But he said, it's that beer getting hot. No, it's not. Just tell me which one to drink, and I'll drink it, okay? Galveston, both not happening. Shotgun, definitely not happening, Dr. Dre. Did y'all see Tessa's shotgun video? We may have to do that next week on the film session. Dome Foam, Galveston, Eighth Wonder, Galveston. Damn, it's split right down the middle. Galveston, both of them not happening, Tiff. I'm just going to reach for one, and whichever one I grab. All right, we're going with the Hefina. That's what we're going with next. Uh-oh. That one's all shook up now. Oh, this is such a mess. Oh, I don't know about this. I kind of tasted it already. Might be too rich for my blood. I'll drink the whole thing, but I won't like it. Oh, look at that. Too much head. That looks like a beer commercial pour, though, right? Look. Uh-oh. I can't move right now, guys. I need a... Oh, I actually had a towel in here. Okay. That works. Okay. Fuck it. Y'all know what time it is? We all know what time it is. Let's do this shit.
And now it's time for a film session.
Hey! Alright. This next video, both of them are a little bit of violence in them, okay? Both of them have a little bit of violence. And that's okay. You've been warned. If violence is a problem for you, if it bothers you, you've been warned. Number one. And again, I don't know who sent these to me, so I apologize for not giving you your credit. But here's the first video. This one I just called Talk Shit, Get Hit. Okay? So, okay. There's a guy throwing rocks at cars, and he threw it at that car. And we have commentary.
Lost a rock and he fucking missed. Goofy ass.
He's like, man, fuck this. Okay, do it again.
Oh, these motherfuckers gonna cause an accident right here.
Boy.
Oh,
he's
shit.
serious about... Oh my God!
Shit! Holy fuck, he fucking hit his ass hard. Just ran his ass the fuck over.
Oh, yo! What? This shit is so great. PayPal Pete sent this. Jeremy, thank you, buddy. PayPal Pete sent me this one. Okay, this is when keeping it real goes wrong. Now let's take a look here. So you got this guy who obviously was out here doing some fuckery already. Otherwise, why would he be filming this to begin with, right? So you got this dude out here acting like an asshole, and at some point he decides he's going to launch a rock at cars. And now, if you can see the trail of the rock, he's obviously a terrible aim. He's a bad throw, but he throws it across the street. Now, this white car in frame decides, did that motherfucker just throw a rock at me? At which point, he slows down, which is exactly how Barry would have done it. if you throw a rock in my car, I'm going to slow down to see what the fuck is going on. So when he slows down, whoever this cat is on this sidewalk decides, yeah, bitch, I threw a rock at you, and I have a pile of rocks, and I'm about to throw another one. Okay? So he gets another rock. Take that, you son of a bitch! Now, I don't know if that one hit. I couldn't tell if that one hit or not, but his throwing motion, can we just talk about that for a second? Can we look at the throwing motion? That's way too much. That's too far back in your throwing motion right there. That right there. That's not, you need to be more up top, up here. You need to be, this isn't going to get it. You got to be up here more. If you're going to throw rocks at cars, you want to be up here so you can get on top of the rock and get that downward spiral, get that downward motion. If you come from down here, it's more like a trebuchet. It's just going to launch it in the air. You lose a lot of velocity that way, rock throwing guy. So he throws this other one. Now I'm trying to track where this rock is. You can kind of see it a little bit. It's a little bit smaller, but I don't know if it hits the white car or not. But what I do know is the white car knows he just threw another rock. And he's not having this shit. Now, he almost caused a wreck. Somebody in the chat said he throws like 100 pins. Yeah, he does. That's not very effective. So now the white car is like, man, fuck this shit. I'm going to go over here and whip this dude's ass.
Oh, these
so we
gonna
think,
cause an accident right here.
instead of pulling into this spot and getting out, right now, you could have pulled in right here, stopped and got out, and settled it like a man. He says, no, fuck this shit.
Oh, shit.
Boom! Oh my God. Oh my God. Down goes Frazier. Now look, this guy right here, he's kind of got the stance like, you don't want none of this, car. You don't want none of this. And now he's like, oh shit, he wants some of this. See, at first he's like, what you want, bitch? What you want? Oh shit, I don't know I don't know what to do right now. Now, see, this is also a mistake. You went right and then you tried to go left. You should have just committed one direction. Yeah, you're not juking a car. Good point, Chris Householder. You're not juking a car and you're not olaying a car. Dude tried to go right, go left. Too late, motherfucker. That car has a gas pedal and you've got 2 feet and it's too late. And right here, can we just talk for a second? I think he hit him in the dick. I'm really serious. I think the right front corner of the car hit him dead off in his penis. But right here, right about here, right about at this moment, he knew he fucked up. Right at this moment in his life, he was like, man, I shouldn't have thrown that rock. I shouldn't have thrown either one of those rocks. I really fucked up. My life decisions are not good at this moment. So he's in midair. He regrets everything. Now, I want you to also notice he hits the wall like Spider-Man. He hits the wall, and I don't know what, I believe that's a shoe that came off. If you can see it there right behind the white car on the ground, you'll see it rolling.
Oh, shit!
Oh, shit! Which is exactly how I would have handled that as well. But now you got my man's shoe in the middle of the sidewalk, and my man's like, let me get this shoe and get out this goddamn.
Holy fuck!
Let me get over here.
Hit his ass hard.
And then you see my man put his shoe on, but did you take your eye off of the white car? Did you guys not notice that the white car U-turned and went back about its fucking business? Watch. So you see the white car up at the top, right? We're all looking at the dude. Watch the white car. It goes a little further down, and then right here, you can see the white car busting that U off the sidewalk, and he's like, bye. And right here, he's probably yelling something like, stop sitting on the goddamn corner doing dope. He's probably yelling something to him, but holy fuck. Moral of the story. The moral of the story today. Don't start none, there won't be none. Yo, that dude got so runned over, his shoe came off. That's fucking badass. I mean, I'm not suggesting you run people over with your car. What I am suggesting is that people throw rocks at you. Maybe get out next time. Look. Tiffany knows what's up. Tiffany said, yeah, tried to hit him with that get off me. Yeah, look, we talked about how to defend yourself in the streets using the get off me method. Not going to work with a vehicle. That's not a safe bet. Okay? What is this? Here's something they don't tell you. Ford Fusion owners don't fuck around. Oh, shit. That was such a good video, man. Appreciate you very much, Jeremy Tinsley, for sending that in. That was outstanding. Okay. That's it. It's 2:55. I had another film session for you. We don't have time. It's time to get the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Dave Tepper is going to join me next right here on Barry on Deck. Now, excuse me, as you guys know, this beer, boy. As you guys know, I try to have a special commercial for you every time. This is my buddy Richard Burmaster, who on his own, he just tagged me on Instagram on these. And I just thought I would show you. He's been making, quote, commercials for the Barry on Deck merchandise. Here we go. Enjoy the 5-minute break. Go pee. I'm going to go pee. I'm going to get Dave on the phone. He's up next. We're going to have an outstanding time. I promise you that. This is Barry on Deck. Hour number 2 starts in 5 minutes. We'll see you in a second. Hey, boys and girls. Oh, tastes so much better when it's been inside a berry.
Boys and girls, it's Thursday night. You know what happens on Thursday night. We reach deep into Barry's sack. Deep in Barry's sack. Pull out all the tools needed for Thursday nights. Barry's sack has love.
welcome back. Hour number 2 is upon us, and I am so pumped to bring in my guest for a Friday. Joining me on Barry on Deck, none other than the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dave Tepper.
Very good to see you, dude.
What's up, buddy? How are you, man?
I'm all right. I cannot complain, man. Thanks for having me on your show. It's funny. This is so I was thinking about it this morning, and I remember. So you text me to set this up, right? And you're like, "Hey, man, I want to get you on. You just had Jong on," and I caught some of that, and I appreciate the good words and great to see Jong again. And you said, "Hey, man, you want to do this week?" And I sent you a couple days. You didn't get back to me. And your next response was, "Dude, I just got fired."
Yeah. That's
yeah. Remember that? And I was like, "Oh," and you go, "Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna do this anymore." And I said, "Yeah, fair enough. I could see you might have a few things to consider and think about more so than getting my dumb ass on your podcast over here." So, look, dude, I'm glad to see you've kept this going. I'm glad to see you've kept this going, and I'm glad that we were able to finally make this work, man. But yeah, that was we were supposed to set it up that week, man.
We were. It was funny because I was bored. You know, I was doing radio from the house because of the quarantine. Joel and I and Nick were doing our show, and I was like, well, I'll just do something at night just for whatever and on YouTube, and it was fun. And then when that happened, I was just like, oh my God, this is it. I'm done. I even texted you. I was like, I don't know what to do. And you were like, I know you don't believe me now, but you were like, you're going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. You're a little upset right now. And I was like, just in my mind, I'm going, he doesn't understand, which is so stupid. How long have you been in this fucking business? Of course you understand.
Yeah, dude. Look, I mean, as John Medani, who gave me a lot of, really my big first breakout in Austin, Texas, you know, he used to say, and they still continue to say in this business, you're not really in it until you get fired.
Oh.
You know, and so I got fired from Austin. That's what led to me getting to Houston. And I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, I love how everything worked out. At the moment of it, it's scary as hell. Mm-hmm. You're pissed. You know, a lot of things go through your head, and that's very normal. Gosh, a lot of people are obviously experiencing that these days, which is really unfortunate. But you know, things usually work out to be all right. You know, if you go about things the right way, and I know you do that, and I'm glad it worked out the way it did, even though, you know, it was crushing at the time, because I was down for being in Austin, Texas for years.
Yeah.
You know, I love that city, you know, still to this very day. But, you know, without that, then the door wouldn't have opened in Houston, and we were able to do some pretty cool things. So good things are ahead from you. I will say, a part of me said, wait a minute, dude, I am more important than you being fired, you selfish prick. I mean, let's still do this.
There were so many emotions, and I'm an emotional dude, but there was I was like, well, nobody's going to want to watch this anymore. I'm not on the radio. No one's going to care. And I tell this story all the time because there's the only reason this show exists is because of all the fine people that are in that chat right over there supported me. All the listeners that were suspects are now deckheads. They were like, you have to do something. Like, we want to. And so I wasn't expecting that. And so I was like, well, this is the end of my career. No one's going to want to fuck with me anymore. And that just was the complete opposite of everything I expected. So,
well, it may be the end of your career, but I'm not betting on that, man. I think you're going to be fine. You know, and this is the thing too. This is what's great about right now. Like, you know, it's funny. I guess. I mean, I just turned 44, so I feel like an old man, kind of. But you know, I was back in my late 20s there in Austin, and there weren't opportunities like this, you know, where you could just say, all right, fuck it, I'm just gonna jump on, I'm gonna start doing my video podcast, my audio podcast, whatever it might be. I'm gonna still get reps. I'm still gonna be able to tell prospects out there, hey, come check me out in this or this place, you know. So this is it's really what you make of it, right? I mean, it's what you make of it. And you know, I know, you know, I mean, that you guys were doing really good stuff out there, and obviously AJ is a really, really good friend of mine. And I know how much that hurt him, to have that happen. I talked to him about it, and that. And I mean, I talked to him real soon after, and it was, I remember when he was looking to do some programming stuff, I said, bro, are you sure you want some of this? Because,
you warned him.
I'm still to this day, I'm still a big Howard Stern fan, right? And if you read his first book, Private Parts that they made a movie out of, he was a program director at one point.
Really?
He was an on-air program director. I don't know which market it was, one of the smaller markets. And he quit doing it, and because he could not fire people. Because I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So, I know when I talked to AJ, I was like, dude, this is part of the gig, especially when it's somebody that I know you care about and are friends with. And it was a tough deal. But listen, man, it's as you pointed out, business right now, revenue has taken a lot of people out of work, a lot of talented people out of work. But I feel like if situations like that happen to good people, then something really good is ahead, and I have no doubt in the world that's the same thing for you, my man.
You don't understand. You have literally, it's so funny because you gave me my start in radio, and you helped me get better at radio right off the bat with your feedback and your guidance and everything. And then you left before I was ever full time, or I was just still working the weekends and all that. But even then, I would call you not a lot, maybe even not as much as I should. And I feel like I only called you when I had a problem. But I trusted you more than anybody else because I knew you'd be honest with me. And a lot of people don't know this, but you really were what saved the Suspects from my standpoint. The show I was doing. And I think I talked a little bit about this with John. But for those that missed it, I was at my breaking point on the show, which a lot of us do in this business when you're thrown in the mix with somebody that there's no chemistry and you don't know how to make it work. And I was driving to Beaumont, and you and I had I think you talked to me the whole drive there. And you said just one thing to me, Dave, that made the entire difference in my radio career. Because I was ready to quit. I was like, I don't even want to do this. We're not getting along. This isn't working. And you literally just said, because you were there when I won Rock the Mic, and you said, when you won Rock the Mic, if I pulled you aside and said, okay, I'm going to give you a show midday in the 6th largest media market in the country right now, but it's going to be difficult to get along with your co-host, what would you tell me? And I was like, I told you, I would tell you, fuck yeah, bring it on. I'll make it work. And you go, make it work. And I was like, dude, and that was it. That literally changed my entire perspective and attitude on how I dealt with Joel, and which made him relax, and how he dealt with me. And that was a huge turning point for us. And he doesn't even, I told him eventually, but at the time, Dave, man, you literally saved my career with that one line, that one question. It was unbelievable. I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you for telling me that after a 90-minute drive to Beaumont, and I love our folks out there at the Mont, it was one thing. That was all you took out of that. That was helpful and positive. After 90 minutes of me pouring out my heart to you and giving you all the advice that I feel that I had gleaned, there was one line. But I guess it beats no lines getting through to you. No, man, that is... it
was powerful, though.
But that's the thing, man, is that, and I remember, too, we talked about, don't think so hard, don't try so hard, right? Like, for a guy like you who's in that position, dude, you're not supposed to be in that position, right? Like you said, a dude, that was so great about the Rock the Mic contest. There's a lot of good people that came through that, and we gave a lot of people a lot of different opportunities. Liebeshock certainly is one of them. Love that dude. Robert Parker. There's a variety of guys that went through and people that went through winning that. None of them really were able to jump themselves into that kind of a situation. A lot of them got opportunities to fill in. Liebeshock's a guy that I wish we could have done more with, because he's a guy that I think is tremendously talented, and I tried to do more stuff with him, but things turn out the way they turn out for a reason. But I'm like, dude, you're not supposed to be in this position, right? So here you are sitting across from Joel. I know Joel just a little bit. And don't worry about it. Even if you blow it, you're already ahead of where you're supposed to be. So just don't think so much, and do your best to just figure out what you can do something about, and that is, if this was to end, would you feel comfortable with how it's ended, right? Like, do you think you're being yourself? Are you doing, would you regret a whole lot of it? And I remember you're like, no, I'm kind of trying to feel myself out. And it's tough to do, especially, on a microphone live in front of all those good 97.5 people.
Uh-huh.
But I also remember when you told me that you just decided to let yourself be yourself. And you know something? If Joel is going to be down for you, cool. If he isn't, fuck it, man. I mean, this is who I am. This is how I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to worry so much about pleasing my co-host or pleasing my producer or whatever it might be. I want these guys to accept me for who I am. And if I do get blown out, and I've told folks this before, that was one of the things I tried to do for me when I was on there. It was like, dude, if this doesn't work out, would I rather I get tossed trying to be something I'm not, trying to get approval from the person sitting across from me and everyone else, or would I rather have it be me being myself?
Mm-hmm.
And that was where I got really comfortable. And I've found, now being in programming now for these years, when I've been able to share that same situation with them, that's really helped, right? Which is, hey, if it don't work out, don't have it work out being yourself, right? Why would you try to be anybody else? There's only one of you anyway. That's what makes what we do so special, right?
Yeah.
It's just be you, because there's only one of you. And most of the time, like yourself, when people do that, good things start to happen, and they did. So, man, it was awesome what you guys were able to do, and I'm glad that one sentence was able to break through to your thick skull.
Dude, you literally, it was just, there was so much, but that had, for some reason, and I do remember all those things and all those things, but that had the biggest impact on me. It was such wise words, man. It really was. Are you not on air anymore? Because you said when I was doing a show. Are you not doing a show anymore, Dave?
No, I've been on air since I was with Sean Salisbury in Houston.
Really?
I took myself off, yeah.
Why
Yeah,
are
that
you
was the last
wasting
time.
this talent, Dave? Now I've got to resurrect you. Why are you wasting all this talent?
I got to a point, man, when I was out there in Houston. I mean, when 97.5 is a station that was not really, a lot of people didn't expect that thing to be even on the air as we speak today, right? Mm-hmm. And, I got a programming opportunity that I was interested in getting into some of this, but I really wasn't qualified for it. I wasn't. I remember when Pat Fant, who was the GM originally of the station, came in, and he says to me, that I was up for the position, and he's like, "So you want this?" I said, "Yeah, you know that." He goes, "Well, nobody else seems to, so it's all yours."
And you're like, great.
I was like, all right, fine. And I got punched in the mouth a whole bunch along the way, and I was juggling both things, right? Being on air, and I really was, my goal, my vision was I was going to be on air for all these years. But I started to realize that I'm just not good enough to be all that good at both of these things at once, right? It's just, if I really think I'm going to be able to be my very best at one of these two things, I feel like I need to dedicate myself to them. So I'd already dedicated myself to the on-air for a while. But the programming thing, man, like what you just talked about, it did something for me where I love to be a part of something successful. And frankly, the one big show that I was lucky to be a part of was with Carl Dukes and Julie Takahashi on The Drive, Mm-hmm. But overall, I was a good host. I did some good stuff. But I was able to take a step back. I was getting frustrated with things at GAO. That was no secret there internally. And I was trying to figure out, like, what I want for myself. And I just realized, man, I'm putting up more points right now helping people out behind the scenes, like the story that you just shared. For me to be able to just take a step back and work with, obviously guys like Fred and AJ, and what I was able to do in my time with Carl and some of the different hosts that I got to work with, and the station, as we grew. I mean, the fact that we went from nobody believed in it to being the number one sports station in town, back in 2010, for a year, beating 610 and these things that no one thought we can do. I just said, let me see what would happen if I was able to put myself all in on that side of the ball. And maybe one day I'll come back to the microphone. If I fall on my face, so be it. I remember talking to Gal about that as a possibility. What would you ever think, about if I just got myself into programming? And, I remember he just like, look, we think you're good on air. We like having you on air. It was a nice thing that he said. And he said, it's also really good for our budget. So I realized that it got to a point there where some things were happening out of my control, that it just wasn't for me. I'll always be very grateful for Gal Media, because they bought us as is when Cumulus sold us, and they gave you and a lot of us opportunities to continue on and to do great things with that station. But there were just some things to it. They just weren't for me anymore, and so I wanted to pursue just being in programming. And I don't regret it, but I do, I miss it at times, but not in a regretful way, because this is where I got my start, and I've always loved doing it. But I've just been putting up more points on this side of the ball, man. Until that changes, I'm loving what I'm doing. You're
just so good at it as a leader, and that's the thing. Some people want to be leaders, and some people are just naturally good at making the people around them better. You happen to be really good at both, though. You happen to be really good on air and really good at making people better at being on air. It's a beautiful gift. And I know, listen, I've worked with Jerome now half a dozen times on radio, and he's done my show, and I do his show on Sundays because he still has a Sunday show. But inevitably, I end up being compared to you when I do a show with Jerome, because that show, more than any show that I've heard of in this market, was one of those shows that was so underrated. And you guys never got what you deserved as far as how fucking good that show was. But people are always like, oh my God, when Jerome and I get together, we cut up. They're like, this reminds me of Jerome and Dave so much. I miss them so much. Do you miss it? Do you miss that kind of interaction like with Jerome and stuff?
Jerome and I, well, and first of all, the fact that you were compared to me explains why you got fired. So I guess I don't know if you'll be on air again. Look at me. But Jerome and I, we had so much fun on that show, man. The laughs that we had on that show, I mean, there were some wild moments that we had, and he and I go back, I remember, I mean, one of my biggest regrets is firing Jerome on the phone. Oh. I mean, I've told this story before. This was one of my first ones. Yeah, man, that's one way to do it. But I remember, if I could have done anything again, I remember the change was being made, and I really was trying to track the guy down and say something to his face. This is back when he was on air with Jorge Vargas, mm-hmm. and then I started to realize, I'm like, dude, you're just circling the block. You're not coming up here because you must know there's something in the water out here. And so I still wish I would have handled that differently and been more patient or gone to him. But, you live and you learn. So when the opportunity came to get back with him, he was the first thought back when Carl took his gig in Atlanta, uh-huh. when he left. And the first person I thought of, especially because it happened so quickly too, it was like, well, Jerome. I mean, he and I've, when he'd fill in, we've had some fun together, and so that show, like your show, it took a while for us to find our groove a little bit. It was who's going to steer the show. It just took some time to get its chemistry, but we found our lane, and we had some moments that were wild. I would say that show Carl and Julie was the most successful show that I was a part of. But working with Jerome was as much fun as I had had. And I remember when that ended, I wish that had ended differently as well. I remember when we met about it, and his schedule was really filling up on some stuff, and there were some things I wished that I could have managed better, because really, frankly, the way things turned out, we should have kept that going. But I say that in the sense of also knowing that things turn out the way that they're supposed to turn out. I loved working with Sean for the time that I was able to have with Salisbury. That was a good time. And so it's just one of those things that, the show was wild. The challenge was kind of like what your show was too, though. It wasn't making, like, for your standpoint, was that although our show was never number one like yours was. I mean, you guys, we never got up there. We were always second. 610, their midday show there. They were tough to catch. We were always pretty consistent against Matt Thomas there at 790 by beating them. But revenue is a big thing, and I remember Jerome, working for the Chronicle, he had some things that were out of his control, that weren't allowing him to get some opportunities that radio needs. And, from my standpoint, I guess I wasn't a big enough star to sell all the revenue on either. So,
Same.
That sometimes can happen. But I remember, man, we had a moment on that show, and Jerome, it was the Box of Rocks show, and I still get tweeted from some of you good Houston people about the Box of Rocks show when I was rapping on the air and just freestyling. And
it always comes up, dude. Inevitably, really? when the rush comes up, that's like, oh my God, remember when Dave rapped? Dude, it's legendary. Oh, yeah. It literally is.
Well, because I got skill, I mean, and I know that town knows when someone's got skill to spit some lyrics out, right? I mean, that's, there's some big time rappers out there, and I'm proud to say that I'm one of those. Clearly.
Them? Hey, not many people can say that people have listened to them rap on the radio, and you're amongst them.
And that was like 8 Mile. I mean, it was like right off the cuff, and I thought Jerome was going to vomit. I mean, he was crying, and I know he wasn't laughing with me. I'll put it that way.
No. So I have a chat over here, and so many people. I told you about this when we tested, which thank you for being the adult and the responsible one, because I never test these calls before I do them. So inevitably I have tech issues. But I told you, I was like, people are so excited to see you and talk to you. And so I have a chat over here where people can talk. So I'm going to read some messages, and because people can send what's called a super chat. And Donna Rogers, who I'm sure you remember Donna Rogers.
Yeah.
She sent a super chat. And she said, shout out to my guy, Dave. We miss you. And thank you for the super chat, Donna. And I'm just going to tell you, that's going to be a lot of that. These messages, I don't think you ever realize how big of an impact you have, because I didn't. And I don't think you do either. I don't think you realize how big of an impact you have on listeners and people that use the radio as an escape. Did it ever dawn on you, like what you did here in your time in Houston was as special as it is? Look, Chan, Dave the Legend. I mean, this is just, it's like this all through the chat. Did you realize the impact you had, Dave?
Oh, look, I know I'm great. But no, I didn't, man. To say no is not fair to a lot of those good folks out there, because a lot of people that came out to events, on social media, people were very good to me, and they still are, man. I mean, it's funny because when I sit there and I look at my little Twitter, which I don't do a whole lot on now. Gosh, I'm a manager now. I got to watch what I tweet out. God knows.
Right.
But I mean, I figured by the time I was out there, within 6 months, people would have just been out on me, and
Same.
A lot of people, are still following me, still on Facebook, still on Twitter. And that's really meant a lot. And so if I'll pop something up there, a lot of Houston folks will come out and be really good to me. So it wouldn't be fair to them for me to say that I never felt love from them. I mean, that wouldn't be fair to them. I think from my standpoint, I always felt that my role on these shows was just to kind of be the dude to stir it up, and a little bit to be the fuck off, to be the guy to just poke people, right?
Uh-huh.
And I did want to be, someone that was like the star, the reason people tune in, but I never felt that was the case. I always understood that I was just kind of the guy who, just, I guess what I said, was able to kind of keep things light and stir some things up a bit. So to when people would say that, it makes me feel very, very good. But I know that I was quick enough to come to realize that, listen, Jerome was the star of the Rush. Carl was the star. Julie was the star of those shows, back doing the show with Calvin Murphy. So I never had a problem with that because I was happy to have a role on the show working with these people. But so when I do hear that, people did make me feel good, but I guess it would be hard for me to totally understand it because I never really saw myself that way. I was always trying to make everybody else on the show as good as they can be and just kind of give people a laugh.
Now, I noticed a pattern here. It just dawned on me when you said that. But you said you did the show with Jerome, and then you had a show with Carl and Julie, and you did a show with Calvin Murphy as well, where you were his co-host as well.
Yeah, that was my first honor opportunity out there. Yeah.
Was it always planned to have an African American co-host, and in Julie's case, a female as well? Like I look at 97.5 and I love all those guys to death, but it's a very vanilla Houston sports talk. Very white. Let's be real. It's very white. Was it always were you always aware of this, or were you just like, best talent is who I want to work with?
Well, I don't like white people. I don't get along with them very well. I don't relate to them. So I just think it's just how things have turned out. Black folks, they just like me. I mean, they
It's the
relate.
rapping. It's the rapping skills. They gravitate.
It's the rapping skills. They know, man. They just know I
gravitate.
got soul. They just know I got soul. It's just the way things go. No, that was never the intention. But I mean, it's funny going back to Calvin, like on Calvin Murphy's show. I mean, that's just the way it was. I remember John Medania, they hired Calvin, gave him an opportunity to get another shot, which I thought was great. And I'm really happy for Calvin and to see the things that he's been able to do back with the Rockets. And listen, that's a show I wish I was able to do more with and that I did better for. I do. I mean, that was when I was such a young programmer at that time. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to figure out, how can I be a good co-host to Calvin, and then how can I be? And so it was just, I wish there was more we could have done there. But no, it's funny going back to even Houston, or I'm going back to Austin, Texas. I worked with an African American in Hugh Lewis as well. He was a part of the afternoon show that I did. But I'm trying to think, have I ever worked with white people?
You're so racist.
Yeah, I must be.
You hate white people. Dan, you guys heard it here first. Dave Tepper hates white people. That'll be the clip that we take from this show to put on Twitter. Is it's just going to be going, so Dave, why do you hate white people?
Yeah, well, and frankly, why do y'all hate me? I don't understand it, because it may be the other way around. It may be the fact that black folks are like, look, man, is no one going to work with this dude? All right, fine. If this is what it takes for me to get on the radio and I got to work with this guy, then fine, I'll make it work. I don't quite know how that's worked out, but no, I had fun. I had fun with all those folks.
You never did radio with a white guy.
In Austin, I did. In Austin, I worked in Austin. The first break I got was actually with a guy named the Rugman. So the first show, the very first on-air shift that I had, it's a long story how I got from California to Texas. And
we got plenty of time.
And it wasn't a pretty one, but long story short of it was, I mean, I got my start out in Los Angeles. So the very first opportunity I had was with a white guy named Fraser Smith at 97.1, which is KLSX, which was the Stern station out there at the time. And I mean, I don't know if you know this, remember this, but I got my start doing stand-up comedy like you're doing.
People
Like
tell
you're
me
doing
they
right
were
now.
like the only other one that they were like Dave's a stand-up. That was because that's why I think so many people when I work with Jerome would associate you and me because they were like, you know, you're both white, you're both funny, both stand-ups, both crazy, will do anything on radio, don't give a shit. And I think it's why people, it would evoke those emotions of, God, we miss Jerome and Dave, and this reminds us so much of it. Not that I can fill your shoes, but just that we have so many similarities. Us being white and handsome and pretty awesome, and dude, we dabbled in stand-up.
We did, and we are both white. That's true.
That's a fact. I can prove it.
that is true. No, I was doing, and I, you know, I was out at the Laugh Factory, and I remember it hit the wall. I mean, but I was doing what you were doing, man. I mean, I was you know, getting paid. I was doing stand-up. I was, you know, hosting, you know, I was emceeing nights out there, and I just wasn't as good of a comic as I thought, you know, that I was. But a guy, Fraser Smith, gave me an opportunity on Saturday nights, and I just loved it. I fell in love with it right then and there. So I tried to get an opportunity. Nowhere in LA you can work your way up, so you got to go to a smaller market. Found an opportunity out in Austin, Texas, and I got out there, and the guy that brought me out there just ghosted me. He just completely ghosted me. So that was a tough time. So I got an internship at a news talk station that was about to flip the sports. That's where John Madani was. And he's like, hey, you want to be in sports radio? This is about to flip. And so I was like doing updates and interning for the morning show. And the host of the show, Paul Pryor, who was doing it with this guy, the Rug Man, who John Madani found in the strip club in Austin. This guy had done sports radio in Cincinnati, Ohio. And he hired him to work with Paul Pryor. And one day, Paul Pryor, like it's the old, you know, older person falling and I can't get up skit. Like it was real. Like the dude fell one morning and he could not get in. And Madani calls me 15 minutes before the show, and he says, hey, you need to get in there with the Rug Man. And I was like, all right. So we start to host, and Paul comes back. Literally, Paul falls again. He falls again. And I'm doing the show with the Rug Man again, and the company at that point, and Paul wasn't able to come back because he wasn't a healthy person. And off I went there for my broadcasting time in Texas. So Rug Man was a funny, long-haired, just Jack Daniels drinking, came in hungover every day, smelling like whiskey co-host that I had. But then I worked with Wally Lynn and David Anderson, who I'm still in touch with. They were white guys. But then after that, yeah, I mean, every show that I was a part of beyond that had an African American on it, and I loved it. I had a great time.
Why don't you think there's more? Because I was going to have Rachel Van Orange on my show, and she got sick and couldn't do it. But we were talking about it, and she laments on Twitter, rightfully so. But there's not a lot of females in Houston. But I don't know about the rest of the country. But there's just not a lot of females in this business, and I don't know why. Because there's some very talented. I mean, Julie was supremely talented at what she did. I wonder why. Maybe you know from a PD perspective. Why is that?
Well, there's not more females in sports radio.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of females in you know, working their way up in sports media, you know, I mean, which is nice to see. But, you know, I mean, what programmers do is they program first of all, you have to find the right fit. And that was the thing with Julie. Like, my belief is I never, and I still to this day, I don't want to hire people because they check a box, right? I mean, I want to hire people because they're the right person, and then they happen to be these other things. That's great. So like Julie, for example, this is what I always say about Julie. I mean, what sometimes would frustrate me about what people would say about Julie is, oh, she's such a great female co-host, you know, and I know they didn't mean that, you know, the wrong way, but, you know, I would always say, no, she's a great host that happens to be a female. I mean, that's what I believe. And so a lot of it, I think, is just a lot of it, in my opinion, I can only speak for myself. A lot of it is fit. I mean, I've auditioned females. We've worked with them. I think a lot of it is really, are you the right fit and you happen to be a female? And that can check a lot of boxes. I mean, that goes for former athletes. That goes for a lot of different things is, you know, I don't choose to program by saying I need to go out and get this kind of person. I want to try out all different kinds of people, and if that fit is the right fit, then awesome. If they also happen to fill, some of these other things. So I can't speak for other programmers other than that. I can tell you though that I've had openings here out in Colorado, when I was out in Nebraska, and I didn't get a ton of female submissions either.
Really?
I mean, I really don't. I mean, so, I would tell you there certainly are some ladies that want their shots, and I'm always open to. I mean, right now we use a lot of females because we have a television network that we also work with, and we like to use this gal Katie Wingy and Lauren Jabara. We'd like to get them mixed in. They're very good. They've got radio backgrounds, but I think one thing that would probably maybe surprise some people is that the submissions from females is not that high. Certainly from my experience, I still get, really, it's primarily a bunch of white dudes. Mm-hmm. So what are you going to do? I mean, run out and say,
pool, yeah.
You want to come in here and try to do that? I mean, it just, a lot of it also is their interest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
At
funny.
least from my standpoint.
You mentioned it, she's funny for a female. That reminded me of in comedy, and this. I always, like young comics, I always get on them about this, but inevitably a young host will be like, your next comic coming to the stage is a female. And I'm like, bro, why do you do that? Like, you can't do that to them. They're a comic just like you're a comic and I'm a comic. Just bring them up as a comic. By you saying she's done this and she's done that, they're going to gather that it's a chick. You don't have to point it out. She's funny. Just let her be a comic. And that's a thing I think that I feel bad for females in radio and in comedy, because that is an uphill battle. No one's like, your next comic's black, and no one does that, right? Like, it's unfair.
Well, there's a challenge also, in our industry too, for minorities getting opportunities, But I'm going to tell you, I still the majority of submissions that I see, right? I mean, mm-hmm. that I see, and this goes back to programming experience in Houston and in Omaha and here. It still is primarily it's white dudes. I mean, it is. So, you have what to work with. I like, right now, for example, we have a really popular midday show. They won an award here from the Colorado Broadcasters Association, the top midday show in Denver. And there's a guy on there, Ryan Harris, who is a former NFL player. Mm-hmm. He played for the Texans. He played in Houston for a while. And he was Peyton Manning's starting left tackle in Super Bowl 50. So he won the Super Bowl, African-American. He's a Muslim, and he checks like a ton of HR boxes, right? Yeah. But the thing that makes him great is he's just a really good, unique dude. He's really good on the air. And that's the thing. I mean, if it's minorities, if it's females, whatever it is, just speaking for myself, I want to give everybody opportunities. The pools that I get for women and minorities is not that high, and I know that there's a lot of you out there that want it. But with that said, you got to apply, and then you got to be the right fit. And so it's not also that, you're not getting this job. I've never sat there and said, I'm not giving this lady this opportunity or this person this opportunity because of this or that. I mean, there's something wrong there. But from how I feel about the choices that are made, it's the right, and that's what I think that, that's the thing that I know Ryan has told me with, here. I remember Julie has said that too, is that that's where they have wanted to be. And I can't speak for everybody else out there. Some people may feel like they want or should be hired because they're a minority, because they're female. I don't know that. But from the conversations that I've had with folks that I've worked with in those positions that, obviously fit those descriptions, that's what I've understood that they want, and it can be Carl, it can be Jerome. I mean, you name it with this. It's I've also understood that they want to be hired because of who they are and how they fit first and foremost, as opposed to just checking a box. Yeah,
that's deep, man. So more chats. Tyler McKee sent a super chat in, and he said, damn, I miss Dave. He has had the quarantine look since 99.
Yeah, what do y'all think, man? I do.
You look good for quarantine.
Do I look way old
Bro.
now? I mean, it's been a while.
No, you know what made me
gray.
sad? You know what made me sad is I'm older than you, Dave.
Oh, jeez.
I'm 46. I'm 46.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. That's one thing.
And I'm all like, what?
Here's what's funny is I remember there was a day I went into the studio during the Blitz, and AJ on the air. I mean, they're talking to John, and AJ on the air. He just stops cold. You know, AJ, and he just goes, "Dude, Dave, you're like so old. Like you're so gray." And I was like, first of all, it's funny because I used to look like you when I was just doing on air. I did. And I remember I said to
I'm
AJ,
never going to PD.
I said, you know why I got this going? Because of you. You're a big pain in my ass. That's why. Is having to manage and having to deal with being a manager. That will bring out the gray pretty darn fast. When I was just on air and I didn't have as much of a care in the world, my world would just let me prep, let me tell a few jokes. Hopefully ratings are decent enough. They don't throw me out of here. And I got a couple of advertisers. I looked like, I should have looked. But the second I got into this world, it was like it had aged me 20 years. I mean, it just happened right when I got into management.
It's like becoming president, right? Like you look at Obama and Trump before their presidency, and then once they're in it, you're like, oh, shit. It ages you. More chats. Let's get, because I want to get to, but real quick, Jorge Franco, he said, wow, it's been a while. Thank you, Dave, for making me love Houston sports radio. I would never met any of the loved ESPN 97.5 and X97.5 shows and people if it wasn't for you.
Well, thanks for that, man. That's the thing is what's so cool. And there's good, even Tyler. I remember Tyler. Tyler used to come out to a lot of our events. I remember you, Tyler, very much. And, Tracy's a big listener of the station. She still, follows me on Twitter. I still see her, repping the station. And what makes me feel good is that the vibe that we created there on that radio station, it's not entirely still there, right? Because everything changes and evolves, but the spirit of that radio station still is very much what we tapped into back when we were getting our asses kicked and decided to figure out a way for us to do things different out there. So, so that means a lot.
What you built. Really?
Well, we built. I mean, we did. I mean, it was people buying into an idea that, look, there's ways that sports radio is done, right? And there's a lot of ways that you can slice it up. But I remember we were out there. We just said, you know something? We're getting our asses whooped. I'm about to get fired. We're all about to get fired if we don't figure something out. And we kept trying to out-Texan 610. And, that happens a lot. And a lot of this stuff is matchups, right? It's like a game. And I realized, shit, man, we're just getting run trying to do what they're doing. And we're getting blasted for it. And I guess it's like we started out on this call, right? I said, hey, dude, if you're going to go out, let's go out in a way that we believe in our own way. And when we started to do that with the radio station and do things different there, from entertainment, edgy, still knowing our stuff, still being very well-rounded sports host, but still doing something nobody else was doing, off it went. And so when you get chats like that, man, it means a ton that people are still listening to the station that we designed over 10 years ago, that not many people thought would be standing right now, with a lot of the same people that built it the right way.
Yeah, dude, I'm so glad that there were people like you, folks like you, involved at the time that recognized there's a huge segment of sports radio listeners that love sports. But at the end of the day, they just want to be entertained. That's literally what this show is. I maybe spend 10 to 15 minutes on sports. And then there's entertainment. I do lawn talk. I do all kinds of different things because people are just more than sports now. And I'm so glad that somebody like you and some of the others at the station at the time recognized that and brought that to our market, because there were so many people, obviously, so many people that were starved for that. And it was great vision by you to make that happen.
Well, I appreciate that. And it was also desperation. Because I was running out of...
Come on, let's see.
I was running out of ideas, man. I will tell you that. But I remember...
What if we did Christian sports?
One would argue we tried that. I remember, though, it was like, what got me listening to the radio? Because I've been a talk show host fan my whole life when I was able to kind of figure out what I wanted to do. I mean, I grew up on the Lettermans and Conan, Dennis Miller shows I thought were underrated. I really liked those. I became a Stern fan when I was in high school, and it was like, so what brought me to want to be a part of talk radio, and it was always, do these people make me laugh? Do they make me think? Do they make me laugh? At the end of the day, I may not agree with everything they're doing, but am I being entertained? Am I laughing? Am I thinking? Is there do I not know what's coming up next? Is there something that keeps me there that is a little out of the box, and I can't say we were the first station to do that. 1310 The Ticket in Dallas, they were, they're all about doing, a lot of that kind of, in their own way of doing it. The Sports Hub in Boston is one that has a lot of entertainment with some very good hosts. K-Fan up in Minneapolis, the Zone out in Nashville. But we were, all those years ago, I mean, it was really, what are we not doing that it doesn't feel like everybody? And I remember this. I remember being at the Super Bowl it was in Dallas, and Gavin Spittle, who was the PD at 610 at the time, and this is when we were beating them for a good amount of time, about a year or so. And he pulls me aside, and basically he said, "Hey, I just want to come up and introduce myself. You and your team have been a huge pain in our ass. And I wondered, what the hell are you guys doing over there?" And I finally sat back and I listened to you, and I just realized, you guys are just being entertaining. You guys are entertaining people. And so that was when guys like Josh Innes, he got himself a bigger role over an afternoon drive, and they started to make their adjustments to start to do things. And that's really what it is, man. At the end of the day, we're entertainers. We're in sports radio, which is a great place to be. But at the end of the day, all we really wanted out there was to get people to understand, if you come here, you're going to laugh and you're going to be entertained if you don't get everything else that you're looking for. But odds are we're going to get to what you're looking for if you just stick with us.
It's funny because you literally used words that people have told me that, like, I don't always agree with you, but you make me think, you make me laugh, and you entertain me. And so that's literally, so I've kind of cut from the cloth that you created at ESPN, which I think I fit into because I always gravitated. Jim Rome was that guy for me coming up. Jim Rome was the guy that, it was sports, but it was more than sports. It was funny. It was entertaining. It was different. It was, outside of the normal sports radio box. So I'm so glad you brought that to the airwaves here in Houston. I have more chats that people want to talk to you. This is their way to get to you. So Jimmy John sent a super chat for $5. We appreciate you, Jimmy John. He said, "Tell Dave my cuz still mad at him for calling him Fat Foster on air in Webster. Dave and Jerome spent 5 minutes clowning him for wearing a Foster's jersey."
Wow.
Do you even remember that?
No, not that particular point, but I probably wanted to forget that in case I saw that guy in real life, because it sounds like we were being real a-holes to him.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I'm glad he remembers that. I'm glad that stuck out so good.
Cowboy,
thank you.
Cowboy Fam sent a super chat. Thank you, buddy. He said, "I bring back Moral Victory Mondays." I missed it. What was Moral Victory Mondays for those that don't know?
I still see Jerome doing those. Moral Victory Monday was, I was going to say back when the Texans sucked, but I guess some things never change. They were another one of their mediocre to bad seasons or whatever it was. And I just remember reading the Chronicle, doing my local prep, and it was just a lot of silver linings were in these articles. It was basically, they just got smashed again, but they did kick off well, and it was one of those things where we just kept coming in on Mondays after a bad show, or after a bad game, I should say. And we said, well, I guess everybody wants to find moral victories within this pretty bad team. So on Mondays after a loss, let's just have Moral Victory Monday. That's what it was, and people embraced it, and I love the people that still has stuck with some folks, and I know Jerome still references it. I still see people reference that on Twitter at times. Sometimes I'll see the Texans get their asses whooped or something like that, and I'll get tagged on a Moral Victory Monday tweet. So it's cool, but that's where it came from.
Rico Supreme said, "Man, I love Dave Tepper," and then he put a little teardrop. Tipper and Dave were amazing. Where else? People, by the way, they make me drink, Dave. They send me beer and tip me for taking shots. They're trying to get me drunk on air to say something that I would regret. What are you drinking? Well, I'm one of my sponsors, which I have to do a read, by the way, so pardon me. I'll have to do that in a second. But one of my sponsors is beerchronicle.com, and they brought me a sixer. I have Dome Foam, I have Haterade, and I have Galveston Hefina. And I've drank all three of those since I've been on the air, plus a shot of Jameson. So I literally am not a drinker. This is what they do. I'm a whore, so they're like, here's $5, take a shot. I'm like, okay. Like, such a whore.
Listen, man, I mean, you just got fired. Of course you're drinking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon out there. I mean, I think that makes a ton of sense. I'd be drinking too.
See, Crystal Collins sent a super chat. Thank you, sweetie. But she said, oh, it's Dave Tepper. Take a shot. I'll take a sip, but I can't shoot. I will not get through. We've got 8 minutes left in this show, and I won't make it, Crystal, if I shoot. But Dave, dude, everyone loves you. Gregory Vega Jr. with the super chat. Barry the Deckheads and I want you to take a shot. God damn it. You see, Dave? I'm a whore for this, okay? This is what they do to me. And you know what's sad is I keep whiskey. I'm in my office, and I keep all of my whiskey in my office. This is the life I live now, Dave. This is for you. Thank you. And this is for Gregory Vega Jr. and all the alcoholics in the chat, okay?
I'm not buying any of this. This is a reflection of how poor of an interview I am. You've decided today that you're going to start breaking out alcohol because you couldn't regret this decision further. People are chatting to you going, Christ, I'm drinking now too. I've never drank this early in my life. Will you get this old, washed up Houston has-been off of your show? I'll drink to that.
No, you go back. Crystal Collins, by the way, she sent the wrong message, but go back and look at this chat. If you watch the replay, the chat will be there, Dave. I'm telling you,
okay, I will.
You were so loved in this city. You just don't even know it.
Look, man, I love that city. I do. And I was sad to leave it. I don't regret leaving it because I needed to. And I'm really happy where I am. I'm happy with this journey. I'm really proud of it. But I'm so proud of our time there. And that's always going to be listen, I'm from California originally, but I love Texas so much. I love Austin. I love Houston. I love you guys out there. I mean, you guys are really the ones that showed me that I could do something in this business, on air and off the air. So it's funny when my wife, she's from Houston, so we have family there. We go back there. I mean, at times I get to go on the Blitz with the guys when I come home, and if it wasn't for this fucking virus, I'd be coming back out there again at the end of the year. But we've always said, man, if shit hits the fan, Houston's a place that we would just go, stay with our family, recharge, beg AJ for a part-time shift or something like that, and see what we could do because that city, it was just so good to me.
Yeah. Amos Johnson sent a super chat. Thank you, Amos. That's very kind of you. He said, damn it, now I've got Box of Rocks stuck in my head. Do you remember it? Do you remember it to this day? Do you remember the lyrics?
No, I remember it had something to do with Jesus Christ. It was like, God, what the fuck was I doing? I mean, it was somebody was there was a video like on Oprah. I don't know what it was, but John had found some audio and somebody was just riffing, and I was like, I can beat this. And it was something about listen, that's how bizarre it was. It literally somehow I rhymed.
Was it literally all off the top of your head? Every bit of it?
Yeah, it was top of my head or out of my ass. I mean, one or the other, which some would argue is the same whole. But somehow I tied together Box of Rocks and Jesus Christ. So you could kind of string it together from there. But yeah, I don't remember the exact lyric of it. I don't remember the exact lyric of it. But I'd love to hear it. I mean, hell, if I would have, he might still have it.
I need to find
John
it.
Might still have it somewhere. Yeah.
I need to play. I wish I would have thought ahead. If I was really good at what I did, I would have thought ahead, and I would have contacted Jong and got a copy of it and played it during the break so people could have heard it. But I'm not that good at what I do. So
clearly, Barry, you're unemployed.
Josh, our Virginia Buttonweed. By the way, people are making this big competition because did you hear what happened with the backstory of ESPN after I got let go and they broke up the show, and then there was this 2 to 4 slot, and they were going to put Will Kane in there, and you knew how that was going to go before they. And they were like, and apparently Josh Ennis called him and said, "I'll work for free, just give me the airtime," and they did. And people are upset because I told AJ the optics look like you fired me to bring in Josh Ennis when you were telling people that wasn't the case, and I get it. I know that wasn't the case, but so people are upset. So I have to read super chats because Dave, people pay. They tip me. It's like a tip jar. They put $2 in the jar and they send a super chat, and then I have to read it. And this one says, "What's a Josh Ennis? It sounds disgusting." People are upset. Why is he so polarizing? You helped to, you basically were indirectly responsible for him getting on the air. Why is he so polarizing?
Well, he was on the air already doing mornings at 6:10, and he was doing a bridge show between Vandermeer, Lopez, and he was a part of that show. He was solo before Jim Rome. Listen, man, I like Josh Ennis.
Okay.
I like Josh Ennis. I've always liked Josh Ennis. I like that style. Josh Ennis was the reason, in my opinion, the reason why 610 was able to come back and beat us. Before Gavin Spittle put Josh Ennis in afternoon drive, we were winning. And I remember when he put him in afternoon drive, I thought, shit, that's a good matchup right there. That is a good matchup right there. I know he's not for everybody. I'll tell you, Barry, I know that what people see and the optics of it, that is not what happened. It is just not what happened. I know that it tore AJ up to have to get you off of that show. I know that that's the case. And he was planning to put Will Kane in there. He was. Who the fuck would have expected that Josh Ennis, like him or not? And listen, the guy is, and I think he's got a lot of radio left. I really do. He's one of these dudes. I would love to program a guy like Josh Ennis. I've told him that before. He's one of these guys where I just go, man, if you could just stay out of your own way at times, and that's something that but that's his style. Mm-hmm. You can't tell a guy to not do those kinds of things.
He has to be himself.
But he has to be himself, and so who would have thought that dude would have said, "Hey, AJ, I'll work for free in that space." And I remember, listen, AJ called me. He's like, "What do you think?" He wasn't going to do this. I'll tell you that. He called me and said,
"I'm glad you're saying
this." He said, "What do you think of this?" And I said, "Dude, that is a no-brainer based on how you have described it. I think Josh is a guy that has had a hard time getting back into the game, and I don't know enough about all those reasons as to why, but to his credit, he's like, dude, I just need an opportunity here, and you guys have a void, and let's see where this goes." Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, and I don't think Age will be upset because you need to know that. 97.5 fans need to know that. 97.5 fans, I would tell you, man, give Josh a shot. Josh had nothing to do with this move. And I know I'm not in that building, but I still have good friends in that place. And he had nothing to do with this. Now, like me and everybody, Josh isn't for everybody. Mm-hmm. But support that radio station, man.
Except from 2 to 4, which is when Josh is on. So, because that's what I'm on.
Listen,
I'm competing with them.
Competitively, you should feel that way, and no one is going to tell you, and no one should tell you not to, because you are competing with them. There's no doubt about that. But I will tell you,
there is inside baseball.
The optics show.
There is information that I have that isn't privy to be made public, which is why I've supported AJ in this and stood by him and said, "Listen, I know AJ, I know things. This wasn't intentional." But I love the fact that the deckheads and everybody in here that comes in every day to support me had my back, and they still do. And they look at it as, we don't like you because you're competing with our guy. And I'm never going to ask them not to do that. Are you kidding? But I when it comes to AJ and the decision, I've been very adamant about, I know what went down, and I know that this was not planned. That's all I've said, is I know this wasn't the plan all along.
I tell you for a fact that it was not planned. I mean, look, Ennis had nothing to do with it. Your people should be listening to you. I mean, that's exactly what, I understand it. That's what's so great about radio people, right? Mm-hmm. Like you listeners, is that and this is what our station was built on, right? It was built on loyal listeners that are going to go to war for you. And the Blitz has theirs. They were a perfect example of that. Our whole station, it wasn't built on having all the most listeners in town. It was the loyal people who were a tribe that battled for this radio station, and good talent. I mean, that's why I'm telling you, if he wasn't on from 2 to 4 up against you, I'm telling you, Ennis is a guy that I remember when he started. I've told our guys in our building, I said, that dude over there is the real deal. That guy's good. He's good. And I respect his skill. And a lot of that was because I thought he brought a lot of the same spirit to the radio that we did. And he's got his own tribe, right? Like you can see his people come out and they say, fuck the world. And all the Blitz people come out and they say, fuck the world. And John and Lance's people and your people. And, my 2 people say, fuck the world. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that is what's
Shout
so
out
great.
Mom and Dad.
That is what's so great. No, it actually isn't that. They don't like me at all either.
I have to do this. Bradley Jackson, another shot. $2 more. Thank you for the super chat, Bradley.
That bad? Is this that? Oh, it's because I gave into some love. I drink too. Fair enough. You wanted me to slam the guy. You wanted me to put him on the.
I just want the truth from you, Dave, and that's what we got, and I appreciate it. One more super chat. Jared Callahan said, "Would you ever be a guest on Josh's show?" I guess that's for me. Thank you for the super chat. Absolutely. I've never shied away from anybody. Are you kidding me? Look, there's one thing I'm not scared of, and it's to talk to people. I don't give a fuck who it is. If Josh Dennis invited me on his show, 100% I would go on his show. It would have to be a crosstalk, though, because I'm on air when he's on air. So we would have to stream it on each other's shows. But I would do it. I think it would be interesting.
If you had the chance, you should do it. And here's the thing: is I don't know Josh very well. Mm-hmm. I don't know him very well. I know him because we competed, and then after I left, he and I connected, and I've seen him out at different events and stuff, and we've talked. But I don't know him well. I'm talking about the guy's talent, the way that he him as a broadcaster. And if you had that chance to do that, I mean, listen, man, the guy just happened to be in that spot. He's taking or made an opportunity that was created by a void that was out of your control. I get your listeners. They should be behind you first and foremost, like his listeners, I'm sure, are behind him first and foremost. But if that opportunity came along, absolutely you should do it.
I think it'd be interesting. Dave, it's past time. I've kept you longer than I promised you. I know you're a busy man.
I don't mind.
I love you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that all of your fans that joined this and watched and will watch later are glad to see you again. We didn't even get into like your journey after you left Houston. It just went so fast. Maybe we'll do it again. Will you come back?
Yeah, I don't believe you. I think you've heard enough of me, and you've literally blasted through an entire bottle of Jameson in over this hour. So
when you come back, no drinking. Even if they tip, no drinking. It's just going to be you and me and this boring conversation.
Yeah.
I love you to death, buddy. You have meant so much to me, and you don't even know it, man. But I really appreciate everything you've done for me. And I know that all the deckheads and former Rush, did y'all have a name for your listeners? Like deckheads?
I think now I don't remember if we called them rushers, but not real. You guys are so much more creative than us.
Yeah.
We just weren't that.
I know they're so excited.
We just weren't that good. Well, let me say this, man, if I can, before people go,
please
man.
Do.
I love the folks that are there. I love you, Barry. You know that, man. I love that you were part of what we did, and thanks for reaching out to me on this. The fact that you guys, I mean, there's not much that means more to me than. I've been gone for a good bit, and you guys still reach out. And AJ and Fred had me on their 10-year anniversary Blitz show, which meant a ton. It means a ton that you guys remember the stuff that we all did, listeners, right? All of us did together out there. And man, be safe out there, people.
Please.
Are you a mask guy?
I'm 100% mask guy. I've lost Twitter followers by the hundreds because I bitch about racism and masks. That's it. I'm literally my Twitter. You know, most people go up. I'm going the wrong way because I'm making people mad because I'm so adamant that we solve 2 problems in this country.
Well, I wish that they would take, Houston's such a big city and all these cities. I mean, I wish they would create a mask zone and a non-mask zone.
Sure.
And all the non-maskers you can go and hang out, and the mask people can hang out. But it's just be safe out there,
Wear a
people.
mask.
I mean, whatever you may think of this thing, I fall in line on the mask side, and the funny thing about this virus that I get a kick out of, it's just like, this virus, wherever it came from, I'm not going to get into whatever it might be. If it's the aliens, if it's Bill Gates, if it's nature, if it's you, Barry. Maybe you're so mad at the fact you got fired, you've really morphed this thing into a death trap. But the thing about it is like this thing realized, what do people not do that we could really do some damage on? These fucking pigs don't wash their hands. That's what they don't do.
Yes.
Like all of these
fuckers.
All these viruses that we've been hearing about, all these stories that, a pandemic is coming. A pandemic is coming. It's going to come. They've been trying to get in, and they've tried all these different ways to work their way through. And finally the virus community said, hold on a second. We're thinking too fucking hard here. We're thinking too hard. Look at these disgusting humans. They can't stay away from each other. I mean, all they want to do is just close talk to each other.
And not wash their hands.
They are the most undisciplined fucking people on earth. And have you ever, been in a restroom? These motherfuckers don't wash their hands. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to start by that, and off the damn thing wipes. So people, wash your hands, for God's sakes.
Wash your hands, wear
else,
your mask.
Wash your fucking hands. Yeah, because why the fuck would you put a mask on with hands you just didn't wash after taking the whatever? That doesn't make sense either.
I love it. Dave, we're doing it again, I promise you, and I won't drink, I promise you. Guys, by the way, for those that remember you or want to follow you because they become fans now from watching, I do have fans outside of Houston. I just want to point that out. YouTube is worldwide. We have Kentucky and Michigan and overseas. So for those that fell in love with you in the past hour, how can they follow you?
I'm a useless follow. I don't do a whole lot, but I would love to have y'all follow me so I can see what you guys are up to. It's on Twitter at Dave J Tepper. So love all you guys out there very much, for real. Please make good choices. Take care of each other. And I'm just so grateful for all you out there in that beautiful city.
That was it. Dave, thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
This was everything and more to me. Thank you so much, man. That is Dave Tepper, you
Thanks,
guys.
Barry.
Make sure you go follow him on Twitter. Keep up with him. He is Houston Media Royalty. And that concludes another week of Barry on Deck. I finished the beer. I did all your shots. I hope I didn't miss a super chat. I really tried to keep up with him. It was so hard because I'm so into what Dave had to say because he's meant so much to me in my career and so much to Houston media and Houston radio. Guys, thank you for tuning in again. Go tell a friend. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Just whatever. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being deckheads. Thank you for being here every day and every week. Be careful. It's getting worse, not better. Be safe. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and most importantly, love each other. We'll see you on Monday. I don't have a guest yet. I'll figure that out this weekend. Y'all are making me burp from the beer. Love you guys. We'll talk to you Monday. Be safe. Daddy's making a YouTube video!